What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the second installment of What If Naruto Was Luffy's Reincarnation. If you guys want to enjoy this part at any moment, make sure to slap that like button, share the video with a friend, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. That said, enjoy.
Hey Ross, sauce it up.
Jumping into part 2, we end up cutting back to the Leaf Village, and we're currently just in the perspective of, let's say, Hiruzen, right? Hiruzen's sitting there and he's pretty much giving out the checks to Team 7, and he ended up giving them accommodation for the mission. He ended up paying them for a B to A rank mission, so somewhere in the middle of that. So it was a pretty big payday for Team 7, and so they did feel pretty good about themselves after Hiruzen paid them, right? But basically, what I see happening during this scene is something that I want to change that didn't happen in the original. Obviously, originally, Kakashi doesn't end up telling Team 7 about the Chunin exams until after, but Hiruzen this time around is going to, you know, like raise an eyebrow at Kakashi and be like, so when are you going to tell your team? And Kakashi would say that he was planning on telling them later, but he guesses that this is as good a time as any, right? Hiruzen then nods and he understands, you know, he ends up taking another puff of his little thing, and he ends up pretty much just watching as Kakashi just looks to his team and essentially explains the Chunin exams and what it entails and what they're gonna have to do. Sasuke, Naruto, and Sakura would all definitely be down for it, and all of them would decide simultaneously that what they all want to do is pretty much just go forth with the Chunin exams and try their absolute hardest to, well, become Chunin. So this pretty much cuts back into the scene where we end up seeing the Sand Shinobis, right? Obviously Team Gaara, and Kankuro is at this moment just pretty much messing with Konohamaru. He has him up by his shirt and he's pretty much just telling him that if he doesn't want to die, then he better apologize to him for bumping into him. Konohamaru looks back at Naruto and he's like, "Big bro, help me!" And Naruto just looks at Konohamaru, sighs, and then goes, "Hey, buddy, if I was you, I'd let go of the third Hokage's grandson unless you want to start a full-out war." And Kankuro just drops Konohamaru and he's like, "Kid, I'm so sorry." And Konohamaru just sticks his tongue out, and you know, Naruto just begins laughing, and we then see Sakura behind him being like, "What? How are you laughing at this? Like, he's disrespecting one of our villagers." And you know, Naruto just goes, "Konohamaru can handle it. He's a big boy. Plus, he doesn't look hurt, does he?" Konohamaru goes, "Nah, a weak ninja like that could have never hurt me, especially not with you around, big bro." And Naruto just looks at him and goes, yeah. Anyways, what do you guys think you're doing here, messing with some of our, you know, some of our villagers? And Kankuro goes, "He bumped into me first of all." And then Naruto goes, "So if I'm in your village, some kid bumps into me, I have the right to kill them?" And Kankuro just stays silent after that. From here, Naruto puts his hands behind his head and just looks at the direction of Gaara as he just wonders what's up with Gaara, right? And once he sees them, he's like, "Huh, this guy looks interesting." So he stretches his hand all the way over there and he's like, "Hey, my name's Naruto." And Gaara, seeing his hand stretch out, is like, "How did you do that?" And you know, Naruto's just like, "Oh, it's just my Kekkei Genkai." And Gaara's like, "Interesting. I'll keep an eye on you." Sasuke looks at Gaara and he's all smug and he's just like looking at Tamari, and Tamari's just thinking that he's cute or whatever. And the interaction just kind of really ends there. I mean, there's nothing really to cover here. This is a very blatantly simple, reoccurring situation that happens hundreds and hundreds of times in my what ifs. But yeah, that happens, and eventually we're now going to be cutting into the perspective of Lee's team, and all of them are pretty much just going to be strolling through the Chunin Tower, right, getting ready to take the Chunin exams. And when they're doing this, we end up seeing, you know, Team 7 walk in, and it's at this point that Neji sees Lee just absolutely bolt for them, right? He rushes in front of them and tries to get at Sakura, but she's like, "Ew, no, dude, like, look at your eyebrows." And he gets pretty sad, but then he challenges Sasuke to a fight, and the fight pretty much goes down just like it would in the original. right? But after that fight, we end up getting a small glimpse of another fight that actually ends up taking place, which is going to be the fight between Naruto and Lee. Now this fight's going to be going a little different than you guys might expect it to. See, Lee would start off the battle with Naruto almost similarly to how he started it off with Sasuke. He punches Naruto in the stomach, and Naruto's stomach just like goes with the punch. Like it's like Lee's fist almost goes through him, but then it gets like repelled back, right? Because he's rubber. And Lee would be like, what? This is strange. I've never. But Naruto then goes gum gum pistol, and he hits Lee right in the face, sending him crashing to the floor, with Sasuke just looking up at Naruto being like, how did you? And Naruto just looks back at Sasuke and he's like, I just got it like that, Sasuke. And you know, after this guy shows up and he, you know, he's like, power of youth, right? And then we pretty much just get this really goofy scene with Naruto and like pretty much just holding it over Sasuke's head that he actually landed a punch and he got his ass beat. And Sasuke's pretty salty about it, but what can he do, right? But they eventually go towards the written portion of the exam, and this is where things are not really going to change. I mean, obviously, we're still going to be getting the portion with Naruto, you know, pretty much saying that he'll never give up, that he's going to be, you know, one of the most powerful ninjas of all time. And for that, he needs to be a high-ranking, you know, Jonin at the very least. And from here, everybody else gets inspired or whatever. And then we get the scene with Anko Orochimaru with, you know, that weird creepy scene where Orochimaru just uses his tongue to give Anko a kunai back. But enough of that. But after this, we obviously do get the moments with, you know, Naruto taking a leak, Naruto coming back and finding Team 7 in a mix with Orochimaru, and the scene with Naruto telling Sasuke that, well, he is pretty much a scaredy cat. Yep. We're still going to be getting that scene. I'm not really too sure if in part 1 I ended up saying we were or weren't, but since I don't remember, I'm just going to say that we do get it. And we're just going to be seeing Sasuke's eyes change to the Sharingan just due to pure frustration. And then Sasuke is able to actually somewhat keep up with Orochimaru just a tad bit, with Naruto in his not KCM state, but Kurama chakra mode, right? Wait, that literally is KTM. But like the One Tails mode, right? He's in his One Tails mode and he's trying to pretty much fight off against Orochimaru, right? And obviously they're doing pretty good at first, but then obviously since Orochimaru is just much more of a skilled shinobi, he is able to bypass Naruto's stretchiness, and he's also able to bypass Sasuke's speed and, you know, all the abilities that he has. He's able to very quickly catch hold of Naruto and use the 5-pronged seal to put him out of commission. And when it comes to Sasuke, he was able to pretty much just body him and pretty much overwhelm him with sheer speed and stuff. Orochimaru did find Naruto's movement strange, and he thought maybe holding on to a body like this would be useful. So he also ends up actually giving the power of the curse mark to Naruto, but the Nine Tails Kyuubi would have essentially bypassed that so that the curse mark couldn't take him over or even get planted in, because it just healed so fast. And Orochimaru was like, fascinating, right? But after this, when all said is done, he pretty much bites Sasuke's neck and then says, I'll see you again someday, Sasuke, as he gets out of there. And then we see Naruto on the floor with Sasuke as well. And then we obviously go to the scene where Sakura pretty much is taking care of Naruto and Sasuke. Nothing here really changes. Not even the interaction with the sound ninjas I think should even change, because Sakura in the originals, the one that kind of made Sasuke stop, it's not Naruto. So I think that we're just going to keep that the same, and we're just kind of going to be getting a moment where Naruto just declares that he feels a bit different to Sasuke now, just because of how ominous that chakra feels. That he thinks that he has to keep on his toes because Sasuke just doesn't feel like, well, Sasuke. But regardless of that, we end up cutting back to the Chunin Exams Tower, and Team 7 ends up passing. Obviously, just like they do it in the original, with the preliminaries obviously being a thing. Now Sasuke, it still goes like it does in canon, and the only battle that slightly would change from the original, and by slightly I mean massively, is the Kiba versus Naruto fight. Now, in the original, Kiba would have thought that he had the complete upper hand over Naruto, but this time Kiba has a different perspective on it. He knows about his stretchy ability, he knows that Naruto fights in a very, very strange way, so Kiba's main goal is to pretty much try to beat Naruto before he can even get the chance to try anything on him, right? And Naruto knows that he needs to beat Kiba pretty fast. So what does he do? He pretty much, as soon as the proctor begins the thing, he just looks at Kiba and he's like, all right, time to do Gum Gum Gatling, as he just begins throwing a bunch of punches at Akamaru and Kiba in like at both of them at the same time, just not even caring about what punch land, what punch doesn't, right? And they do end up landing, and Kiba just gets hit so many times that his durability just couldn't keep up with Naruto's, just offense, and Kiba just gets absolutely pummeled. It is what it is, and Naruto just moves on to the next round. Now, the interaction between obviously Hinata and Naruto still goes down just like it would in canon, with him pretty much telling Hinata not to give up, and then him actually finding himself fighting off against Neji in the actual real finals. After this, we get about a 1 month training period between all the individuals that passed, and after this is all pretty much said and done, we then get the moment of training with Jiraiya that would pretty much entail Kurama training, his strange powers that he has, and him working on Gear 2nd with Jiraiya, and also the summoning jutsu like they would in the original. But since Naruto's personality is just a little bit more funny and easygoing, he does end up kind of having a pretty decent bond with Jiraiya. I don't see much of that changing, and I generally think that this is just a pretty good direction to go with in terms of the story that I'm telling. The narrative isn't going to be changing much here, but I will say one thing. It will be slightly changing in the 1 month after the battle with Neji, because Naruto this time would actually have 1 entire month to learn about Gear 3rd, which is essentially just him being able to like pop his hand up like a balloon and just punch it Neji, right? That's gonna happen definitely in the final exam and battle and stuff like that. So why don't we just get ahead and just jump to the actual meat potatoes of the video, right? So we get into this part, and I just generally see the battle going down something like this, right? Naruto at first just decides to make a bunch of shadow clones, and these shadow clones then begin using these strange gum gum pistols and gatlings and whips. And Neji would use the 100 palm rotation jutsu and be able to pretty much bypass the attack that Naruto's throwing at him. Naruto, seeing that he has to get even more up close and personal to Neji, would do so, and because of Naruto's rubber body like properties, Neji, when he does end up actually landing the gentle fist technique, would actually not be able to hurt Naruto. And I'm not going to be saying that by any means, like it's something in the lines of it tickles him, but it is something along the lines of Naruto is just like rubber, so Neji can't exactly hit the chakra paths like he does with normal people, which is something that shocks him, because Naruto just kind of like chucks it off and it is able to just kind of like continue rushing at Neji and trying to throw punches and stuff. And the thing is that Neji won't be able to do anything about it because he doesn't have armament haki. You can't hit Luffy without that, so it's like it's just not hurting him. And so we pretty much just get, I mean, would it technically hurt? I mean, I feel like it would hurt him, but like just not that much. Like it just the gentle fist attack, like it would definitely hurt, but just it wouldn't do its intended purposes because of just how Naruto's body works. Because obviously we know like Luffy could get punched and he like definitely feels it, because I mean, Nami, like she slaps the absolute mess out of this man, and we can see the bruising. It's very apparent and clear. So I think that what I just said kind of doesn't really stand, but just think about it this way. Like the attacks land, they definitely hurt, just not as much as they normally would. And Neji shocked because the effect that he wanted just isn't what he got. So after this happens, Naruto's like, oh, dude, how are you? But then he just decides to clash his fists together and go Gear 2nd. And then from here, his blood flow starts going crazy. And Neji looks at him and, he has this strange, like pinkish reddish hue to his like body, right? But from here, he's able to move at insane speeds that Neji, even with his Byakugan, is barely able to keep up with. Like he's shocked. And Naruto pretty much just begins to overall begin annihilating all of Neji's counterattacks and attacks. He just dodges and is able to just land hits that Neji would have never expected, right? And Naruto eventually hits Neji away to some sort of distance, where finally he decides time for the final one. As he has a couple of his shadow clones appear and they pop up from the ground and they end up grabbing Neji, right? And they hold Neji and they're holding him, and Naruto just goes Gear 3rd. And from here, he pretty much makes a massive fist and just bam, clunks it at Neji, leading Neji to get absolutely hammered by a gigantic fish. Hammered. But anyways, he pretty much just gets hit with Naruto's gigantic fist. And with this comes Neji's immediate knockout. It's just this scene where everybody's like, yo, how did he do that? Bro was a literal cartoon character, right? And Neji is just out here getting knocked out. Like, Neji stood no chance. I'm sorry to say it, guys, but Neji genuinely stood absolutely no chance. It was no chance. Anyways, though, from here we end up getting the battle between Sasuke and Gaara, and that battle generally does stay the same. I'm not going to be changing anything here just because there's no real reason. I mean, Gaara still ends up running out of the stadium, Naruto still chases after him, and the eventual defeat of Gaara still happens basically like it does in the original. I wish I could change things, but just due to the scale of the battle that it is, I can't really say that Naruto's able to just use his Gum Gum abilities and be able to defeat him. Or, sorry, Sun God Nika abilities, right? But because of the nature of the battle, Naruto was forced to essentially have to dodge these huge gigantic speeds that Gaara is able to display, and he was actually able to keep up with Naruto in his Gear 2nd state. So this is where Naruto is finally going to be learning about a certain thing that he has access to, which is observation haki. When Gaara was throwing one attack with his sand, Naruto was able to see it as if almost in slow motion, perceive it. And so what he ends up doing is pretty much like dodging out of the way and making it so that he had a way of an easier time actually facing off against Gaara. Eventually though, he does end up summoning Gamabunta, and from here he ends up just throwing a Gum Gum pistol at Gaara's head to knock him awake, and from here Gaara finally has his change of heart that he would get in the original. After this, we still have the funeral for Hiruzen because he still does end up dying in this version, and this is when we end up getting the scene where Jiraiya tells Naruto to pack his bags, that they're gonna go find the 5th Hokage. And Naruto was like, what, 5th Hokage? Already? And Jiraiya's like, yeah, we need somebody to lead us. So he's like, come on, Naruto. And they go off on the journey. And during this journey, we're definitely still going to be having Naruto learning the Rasengan just like he would in the original. But during this training, Naruto would talk to Jiraiya about how he almost saw into the future almost when it came to Gaara attacking him. And that it happened for a brief moment, but he doesn't know how to train it or how exactly to go about this strange thing that he has access to, right? And what we end up pretty much getting is times where Jiraiya and Naruto would like blindfold Naruto, and they would do the same exact training routine as Rayleigh did with Luffy when it comes to his observation haki. Naruto during these last couple weeks would get pummeled, but eventually his senses would sharpen and he would finally gain decent access to his observation haki, to the point where he can use mediocre observation haki, not like even like post time skip observation haki like Luffy, where he's able to actually just like dodge attacks easily, but you know, a different kind where it's not that strong, but like it's kind of like in the middle of that, right? But regardless of that, we do end up getting this scene with the hotel with Naruto getting completely ambushed with Itachi and Kisame, and you know, he still ends up looking into the eyes of Itachi. Bro, I've been tired all day. I just need a nap, but luckily I only have a couple of more minutes of recording this, so good. I don't have to stay awake for much longer. I can finally pass out. But anyways, into the story. Itachi and Kisame would watch as Naruto just like backs up slowly, and he holds the hand signs for the shadow clone jutsu. He immediately fills the room up with shadow clones of himself, and they all lunge at Kisame and Itachi, while Naruto pretty much is free to open the window and go to the top of the building. This is when he would be safe, and he would, you know, like look down, be like, finally, I need to go find Jiraiya. And you know, from here, he ends up pretty much running from building to building until eventually he notices that Kisame is in front of him, and he puts his hand on the sheath of his sword, right? And from here, we get a scene where Itachi is behind Naruto, and you know, both of them are just looking at Naruto, who at this moment is just like, shh, damn it. But they go from rooftop to rooftop. Naruto tries to run away, and Kisame is pretty much just playing cat and mouse with him, like he's having fun chasing Naruto down. But with him doing this for so long, eventually Jiraiya would notice the commotion and arrive. And this would be before Sasuke even gets the chance to get there, because of the fact that Naruto this time is actually, jumping from building to building using his gum abilities, so that Kisame can't exactly just kill him off bat, right? He's running as fast as he possibly could, and he would even activate Gear Second, just because he knows that these two guys are not people to be messed with, and that these are guys that he definitely has to take serious, unless he wants to die today, right? But regardless of that, we do end up getting Jiraiya coming in to save the day, and Itachi, still telling Kisame that it's best that they retreat. Sasuke ends up arriving at the last minute, and he ends up catching a glimpse of Itachi, who pretty much escapes, with Sasuke screaming, "You coward! How could you get out of here? Fight me, Itachi!"